Hey, Breaking Brown family. Hey, Your Black World family. And I'm coming to you today because I heard that Barack Obama, your first black president, was in London, I believe. And while there, he decided to talk, bad and attack black activists. He decided to attack Black Lives Matter and tell them to basically stop yelling. The point of being an activist is to be able to get in the room. And, and he basically sort of berating activists and diminishing what they've done in terms of, bringing these issues to the forefront, in terms of black life and all of that. And I'm beyond the point of being surprised, and I'm beyond the point of even being upset. It is apparent to me how Barack Obama feels, about African Americans when the LGBT community, rightly in my view, and when the immigrants decided to yell at him and interrupt he and his wife, Barack Obama didn't say anything. He never told them to stop yelling and get in the room. He did what they needed them to do. But when it comes to black people, you want to treat us as if we're so, we're unsophisticated and we don't understand what we're doing and, that sort of thing. So I'm kind of beyond it. I'm at the point right now where the Tea Party was and where Republicans have been since maybe 2008, 2009, in the sense that I know Barack Obama is irrelevant. And he's really been irrelevant for a long time. This is a guy that hasn't done anything for black people while he's been in the White House, but he wants to tell black people what to do and how to get ahead and how they should act. And this is like, even if these people did get in the room with you, Barack Obama, you can't do anything. You're kind of useless and feckless. You can't do anything for us. If you can, you never did. But the point of the matter is, what is the use of getting into a room with you? Like, what black people need to do right now is worry about getting into the room with the next president, because this guy, he was useless. Even in his first term, he was useless. So he's never going to be of any use to us. Even in terms of who he is as a person, and I said this a long time ago, this is a guy who was raised in Kansas with white grandparents, white mother. This is a guy who, even in terms of how he identifies, he technically is African American, raised in this country, but he probably identifies more as a Kenyan American in terms of how he identifies with his father or whatever. Dreams from my father. This guy isn't our guy. And I don't even know why we're thinking about him in terms of, what we think and what we want. This is a guy who wasn't even good as a community activist. He wasn't even a good community activist, and he's going to tell Black Lives Matter how to be good activists. There's a great documentary of Obama that they played in like 2009. And the point of the documentary was to make him look like, oh, he was really a player. This was a guy who really knew what he was doing. But the only thing they showed during his years as a community activist was that he was basically in a room, and there was this woman who he was sort of advocating for, this community he was advocating for. And the woman was trying to speak to this panel of people, and they were having a discussion. And the only thing Barack Obama did was stand in the back and say, let her speak, let her speak, let her speak. I mean, if yelling, that was Barack Obama yelling, saying, let her speak. But he's telling activists that they shouldn't be yelling. And this is a guy who wasn't even, he didn't make a name for himself in Chicago. He wasn't among the best community activists. You had never heard of Barack Obama before he became Barack Obama. This is a guy who was appointed by, mainstream powers that be, elite community. That's who he is. So he doesn't really have any bona fides to tell anybody how to do anything. He has the shortest resume in political history. The shortest resume in political history. He's done virtually nothing. Even if you look in terms of his journal articles when he was a professor, he wrote nothing. He took a stand on nothing. That's what and that's who he is, nothing. That's what he's been in his presidency, nothing. Nobody will remember Barack Obama. He didn't really affect anything. So I don't know why black people should pay attention to anything he has to say. The best thing that Barack Obama can do for us right now is leave. But instead of just leaving, he wants to keep preaching to us. This is the same guy who, was never, Barack Obama was a fairly young president, so he was never involved in the civil rights movement. But remember, he went to the Congressional Black Caucus meeting, which actually has people who were involved in the movement. Actually has a member who was, who was actually in the Black Panther movement, has civil rights leaders like John Lewis, and he was telling them, take off your shoes and put on your marching shoes. Even with all the criticism that I have of Barack Obama, he is, you can't tell people who were in the civil rights movement to put on their shoes. They should tell you to get off your ass, which is something that you never did. So even when I look at him, his disdain, like, I don't even know any way to put it. Like, this guy has never really liked African American people. He has this idea of who we are that's not really married to who we are as human beings. And you can see that when you looked at the book Game Change, they said that the only group that Barack Obama disliked more than the Tea Party was the Congressional Black Caucus. He disliked professional blacks, you know, as opposed to black professionals. And you're going to say, oh, Yvette, well, you dislike the Congressional Black Caucus too. Yeah, but the Congressional Black Caucus isn't to me what they were to Barack Obama. They supported him on everything, even in terms of going against their own constituency, which they shouldn't have. And he still was like, nah, I can't stand him. Like, he's not there for us. He's never going to be there for us. And the best thing to happen to us right now is that he's leaving. Like, he's irrelevant. I know he wants to be relevant to black people, but he's irrelevant. And it's as a graduate of Howard University, it's really upsetting to me that he's going to be speaking there for commencement. I know, you know, there's probably some inner dealings and they may need him because, you know, they're financially crunched or whatever. But part of that financial crunch was due to Obama. But still, I just want black people to move on. Like, we probably should have, we should have moved on when the Republicans moved on, because obviously they smell blood in the water. They smelled that fear. They smelled the naivete. They felt the fact that he wasn't really down with the people who supported him. So I think we should have moved on then. But since we're here now, I think now's as good a time as any to move on and just be like, you know, he was never here. He was never really relevant in a way that mattered to black people. So I think it's time to stop paying attention to him and trying to figure out what we're going to do, you know, with President Trump or, God forbid, President Hillary. I think that's where we are now.